In our top story this morning, a Bureau of Land Management official says the cause of the Sharps fire was from an exploding target. Thank you for tuning in to Rise and Shine. I'm Lane Robbie. Air tankers have dropped over 142,000 gallons of water and retardant on the blaze. KMVT's Ricardo Coronado was at a post site and has more.
The Sharps fire is growing fast, feeding off grass, timber, and sagebrush, estimated to have burned at least 27,000 acres. Multiple Wood River Valley fire agencies are working hard.
It's burning 6 miles east of Bellevue, up in the foothills, near some ranches. Right now the fire is burning towards the northeast and a little bit to the west. It's not threatening any cities at this time.
The Blaine County Sheriff's Department will be responsible for the evacuations. They've closed several roads and recreational areas.
There's some pre-evacuation notices for Fish Creek on the Cary side, but right now, not mandatory evacuation, just warning people.
Not only are fire crews battling the blaze, but are withstanding high temperatures and low humidity.
The terrain here is very steep, steep slopes, high winds, up canyon winds.
On Monday, the Blaine County Sheriff shared this video on Facebook. Hundreds of sheep being evacuated.
23,000 deeded acres.
A situation Flat Top Sheep and cattle rancher John Peavy also experienced.
We've been trying to keep the livestock from harm's way.
Several of his livestock had to be moved.
Moved some of them a long ways and some of them very short distances, but we've rounded up the high country, the country that's hard to get into. You have to ride a horse. So it's a challenge.
Ricardo Coronado, KMVT News.
Our top story, the Sharps fire has burned about 35,000 acres, resulting in a call for a national fire team to assume control. KMVT's Ricardo Coronado met with the team and has more information about their firefighting efforts.
The Sharps fire was caused from an exploding target. Thousands of acres burned. A national fire team has set up at Cary Public School.
This is Great Basin Team 1. We're a Type 1 incident management team.
Operations Section Chief John Kennedy says the high risk the fire caused prompted them to help out.
Structures, natural resource values, and it's in a very complex piece of ground. The country's really rough and challenging up there. So we bring in a lot of resources, a lot of expertise, and a lot of knowledge.
Inside the school, the team has set up separate divisions from medical, finance to operations. To contain the fire, they plan to build a fire line.
We're actually building a line right to the direct edge of the fire on the west side of the fire in the southwest corner. And we're also moving to the north towards the forest boundary with crews and resources and dozers and so forth to contain the fire.
The fire has spread through part of Sawtooth National Forest. Several roads are closed and recreational areas. There is a temporary flight restriction over the Sharps fire, and as the team tackles the challenges the blaze has caused, Kennedy knows it's a group effort.
So there's a lot of cohesive strategy going on between law enforcement, our incident management team, and the resources on the ground.
Ricardo Coronado, KMVT News.
Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. Crews look to get a handle on the human-caused Sharps fire that has burned over 63,000 acres. Our Ricky Coronado has been following this story for most of the week and files this report.
Officials did lift evacuations, but the pre-evacuations will still be monitored on a daily basis. Fire crews still continue to work to contain the fire and monitoring the dry air and the humidity. Charred trees and lands. The Sharps fire has scorched through thousands of acres, and fire crews hope Mother Nature is in their favor.
That low humidity just removes the moisture in the air and increases the chance of the fire moving. So it's just one of the considerations that we look at when we come up with a plan for the day.
Over 40% contained, fire crews work tirelessly to make progress.
The southern end has really seen a decrease in activity the last few days. It's mostly the northeast and northwest corner that are exhibiting most of the activity.
Several mandatory evacuations were lifted by the Blaine County Sheriff's Office, including recreational areas, the High Five Creek and Little Wood River Reservoir campgrounds, but the roads remain closed to non-residents.
There are still some pre-evacuations in the area. That's just cautionary so that people have time to move livestock or any pets that they have and start coming up with a plan.
and fire officials advise to plan ahead for pre-evacuations.
Maybe having a list or talking with your family about what you would do in the event of an emergency, whether it's a fire or a flood. Be thinking about things that you would take, having designated meeting places.
Ricardo Coronado, KMVT News.
Fair board members were faced with relocating the fair this year. That's after the Sharps fire broke out and burned thousands of acres. KMVT's Ricardo Coronado spoke with organizers how fire crews' efforts helped the fair go on as scheduled.
Some of the paper she brought.
Volunteers are setting up for the Blaine County Fair.
The green.
But a week ago, Fair Board members and 4-H coordinators were faced with uncertainty.
We heard there were pre-evacuation notices for closer to town, and we were concerned if it did get closer, what would happen to our fair.
There were discussions on relocating the fair.
Really didn't have a definite plan. Some of the talk was we may move to a neighboring town, like maybe Shoshone where they have a fairgrounds, or we may make it like a one-day and set up like in a park in Haley.
Thanks to fire crews' efforts, the Blaine County Fair will go as scheduled.
They've been using this building and they actually cleared out on Saturday so we could have fair normally, and we appreciate all they've done for us because they work very hard.
And Cary residents agree.
I feel good. I feel like they're having it under control and they're doing their jobs, and they appreciate having to use this area, and we appreciate them in helping the fire.
Ricardo Coronado, KMVT News.
The Sharps fire is more than 80% contained, and on Sunday, a new team will oversee the blaze. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Brittany Cooper. KMVT's Ricardo Coronado spoke with fire officials about the transition and what to expect.
Earlier this week, fire crews completed a burnout operation near Porcupine Creek.
We had a lot of unburned fuel between the head of the fire and where we were expecting to put the containment lines. So we did need to take care of that and remove that.
The fire has scorched more than 60,000 acres, and as the fire seems to calm down, Helitac crews are bringing back resources.
We're shuttling crews and equipment from the fire line and bringing it back in to be cleaned, rehabbed, and put back into service.
As firefighters continue to battle the blaze on the north side, the Great Basin Team Type 1 will transition into a Type 3 team.
A Type 3 means exactly that a fire is less complex and it doesn't require the larger amount of time and people and resources all to be supporting it in order to get it extinguished.
The team will consist of new management.
We'll have some different positions filled, including a planner that will look at what needs to happen on the fire each day, and then someone that's specialized in the logistics to make sure the firefighters have the right tools and equipment.
Fire crews make progress. The blaze will be monitored.
Firefighters will continue to work trying to completely contain that fire, get it to 100% containment, but there will be some smoke and heat in that interior of the burn for quite some time.
Ricardo Coronado, KMVT News. It's really feeding from timber and grass, and it's already burned at least 15,000 acres.